So we're inside that final lap now. We've gone time certain. He's holding his margin steady at 1 second. He's got a handful of corners to run. What a stunning performance from him today. He's come into the round with 5 victories in his supercar career. He set the world on fire for GM at the back end of last year's championship in Adelaide. He had his family in tears. His dad, Paul, was watching that one, and he's here again today to witness this. He's a master of his craft, and he's only a youngster. He slides it out of turn 9 over the top of the curb. He's letting a little bit of that margin drift. He's only got to do a couple of corners now, get it back to second gear for one last time, and he lines it up through the final corner. And the apprentice today has joined the master. Feeney and Whincup are the winners of the Sandown 500 for 2023.
Well done.
3/4 of a second is the gap. Kostecki and Waters. Nothing in this battle between them at the moment. Hardcore motorsport. Lines it up for the run down the hill for the final time. Both of them just using the most delicate of touch to try and make sure that they can stroke these things home.
Waters was 3.5 tenths faster on the previous lap. Again, you can see that margin. He's driving the wheels off this monster Mustang at the moment.
You've got to give Cam A for effort.
Yep.
He is throwing everything at it. You can sense it from the body language of the car. You can see the way that it's sliding. He's flicking the lights on. He's trying to play a distraction game if he can. He's throwing everything he's got to try and crush down the margin. He came here this weekend with 2 victories to his credit with Tickford. He would dearly love to be able to win this one, but I think Brodie's going to bring it home. 14 and 15 for the last time. Down this little undulation. Still 0.7 of a second. He has to think about it, and a look, he shows the nose. He's trying to create any form of distraction, but this guy's focus is rock solid. Kostecki is not going to move his focus on the task as he comes out of the final corner. Brodie Kostecki lines it up and stitches together a magnificent drive and a great weekend of maximum points. Really fought hard today with a strong car, good strategy, and building beautifully off the back of that great run on the Gold Coast, where he was the winner on Saturday. Remembering that he did very well here in years gone by as well, so we know that he's got some great strengths on street circuits. Runner-up here in 2019, he had a pole here last year as well, and a nice moment here for Tim Edwards as he prepares to say farewell to Tickford after a very long and successful reign in that team. Been some beautiful drives this afternoon. Waters, Reynolds, Randall, all of them have done ripping jobs out there and have been able to negotiate a highly challenging racetrack. That margin continued to crush down, but part of that will be Cam just starting to roll out of it now. So he was slower in the first couple of sectors, but they can barely breathe inside the Erebus garage. What a moment for them. So Waters is going to win this, and he is going to win his 3rd race of 2023. But quickly the focus will drop back to Brodie Kostecki. Cam Waters fires out the other side, gives Ford fans plenty to cheer about on the streets of Adelaide. Great drive. And now it's David Reynolds' turn to assault down here in turn 1 in the Penrite entry.
What a great battle. An absolutely extreme battle between some very, very talented racing drivers. And the battle there between Kostecki and Van Gisbergen was sensational. The impromptu move straight up there to get David Reynolds back in the battle. And then Todd Hazelwood, who's now up 8 positions, is into 4th.
And only 2.3 seconds from the lead of the race. That was a fabulous drive this afternoon by Todd. So here we go. Down the hill now for the final time. After one heck of a battle, he was able to apply supreme pressure. Great strategy this afternoon. And he lines it up and picks up maximum points this afternoon, Shane Van Gisbergen, and he bags a win in Western Australia. Here we go, we've got 1 to go, Mark. What a day for this man. It'll be an emotional moment for Charlie Schwerkolt if Mark Winterbottom can stitch this together. He's through one of the danger areas now. He's negotiated the tricky approach, mid-corner and exit of turn 1. And he didn't put a foot wrong, but he's only got 1/3 of a second over Brock Feeney. 2, 3 and 4, those turns negotiated. Now he gets it into turn 5 and it just bobbles a little bit on the way in there. He still holds the margin. This is another area of vulnerability up into the hairpin, and Brock has a big lunge and he gets right onto the rear bumper, and they're separated by a cigarette paper coming out of there. Mark Winterbottom is going to throw everything at this to try and convert to a very special win. Over the top of the hill now, turn 9, 10, 4 turns to go. Down the other side through the S's. He's got Feeney breathing all over the back of the rear bumper. Winterbottom must get a good clean exit, and he's done that. All he's got to do now is change gear. And this is a gigantic story. One of the senior players in Supercars has converted to a very special win. Mark Winterbottom, take a bow. Waters has got this thing inside at the moment. 0.8 of a second is the margin. It will be a full-blown fight to the end, and Waters is not going to yield this thing without either winning or binning. He is not going to let him by easily. Great traction again out of turn 4 for Van Gisbergen. Absolutely nothing in it between these guys at the moment. 0.2 of a second is the gain for Van Gisbergen in sector 1. This is where Waters has been supreme in the last few laps, and he wags the tail slightly on the exit.
But Gisbergen wiped the right-hand mirror off the thing coming out of turn 4, so there is no margin. These guys they're qualifying laps. And have a look there, that mirror is gone. He just wiped it off coming out of the hairpin. This is where Van Gisbergen's got to gain these little 90-degree sections where the car puts its power down so well. Right here is where he has it. Watch the car come off there, Neil. It's straighter.
Well worth the price of admission on the Gold Coast. We have got 3 kilometres of racing to go, and the margin is 0.3 of a second. 1/3 of a second separates Cam Waters from Van Gisbergen. There's nothing in it through the first chicane. Waters, we know, might be vulnerable off turn 4. Van Gisbergen opens up the corner. Waters covers just temporarily to try and make sure that he doesn't get eaten under brakes. But there's nothing in it on the run up to the fast chicane. He's got to make that Mustang wider if he's going to hang on here. He closes the margin, closes the margin, closes the margin on Van Gisbergen. He throws the thing through the chicane. He's doing everything he can. Is he going to be able to survive the last corner? For Waters, it's Supercar race number 248. For Van Gisbergen, it's Supercar race number 508. They're both drawing on every last millimetre of experience to get them to the checkered flag. The Camaro wags its tail out of turn 13. Waters might be able to hang on, but it's going to be very, very close. He's got unbelievable traction, Van Gisbergen. What's it like out the other side? What an outstanding Supercar race, and I think that Cam Waters has ticked the box. Waters is the winner at Surfers Paradise in an epic Supercar race.
So 2 laps to go. Alistair McVeigh has turned from engineer to sports psychologist this afternoon. And he's doing everything he can to keep David Reynolds motivated, concentrating on the task ahead.
3 times this year, David Reynolds has been on the podium for 3rd positions. Can he pull off something big on the Gold Coast this afternoon? At the moment, he's got 0.6 of a second in hand. He's driving for his own pride. He's driving for the pride of the team. He's driving for Penrite and everybody at Grove that have been working so hard in this program. He had a problem with the brake bias yesterday. It ended up full forward and overheated those front brakes. And he's managing every millimetre of this racetrack at the moment to try and cling to a possible victory. For Brodie Kostecki, the complexion of this is entirely different. He's the championship leader. He's got 104 points in his back pocket at the moment. He's already got 6 victories to his credit. He can't afford a mistake or a penalty. He's just given him another little tickle up out of the final corner. Next time round, it is 1 lap to go. It's 2,900 metres of racetrack. Can Reynolds hang on for this nail-biter? The 2nd day in a row, we've got a cracking race on the Gold Coast. Reynolds hangs on into turn one. He's got the slide going. That's the second or third time we've seen him do it. The thing broke wide, and that'll raise some eyebrows up and down the lane. That protected him also down at the hairpin.
It certainly did. So, 11.5. Last lap, Prix just did the fastest lap of the race, and everyone's blowing up deluxe about him going through that first chicane.
That will certainly raise eyebrows, as I said a few moments ago. The back of the car, though, had broken loose, and there'll be a lot of discussion about that one later, and it's crossed up again on the run into turn 11. Right at the moment, Reynolds has only got 4 corners remaining, separating him from victory. He's still got a car length in hand. Now he points it into the sun, down towards 14 and 15 for the last time. We'll come back to all the sporting and political questions later. He's getting a rough up from Brody. He's out the other side. And David Reynolds is able to put the pedal to the metal and stitch together a race victory on the Gold Coast for the first time since 2018 for him back in victory lane.
What a cracking race.